أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. A frequent questions that we are asked every season of Muharram and Ashura, asked by our children, our friends, our Muslim friends, our non-Muslim friends. The question is why this season is important. What does Ashura mean to us? What is the significance of this event? There are many events in the history of Islam. Why this one in particular? It is singled out as one of the most important events in the history, not only in the history of Islam, but in the history of mankind. What is special about it? Why do you commemorate and insist on commemorating this event every year? Not just one night or 2 nights or 3 nights. Sometimes 10 nights, sometimes 20, sometimes in certain areas 2 months. There is a political reason for not discussing what happened after the death of the Prophet ﷺ. There is a reason. They don't want people to know about this, because it causes embarrassment for many leaders, for many teachers, for many imams, for many historians, sometimes for the parents. They don't want their children to know about it. They tell their children, listen, forget about this. This was a fitna, commotion. There was a disagreement among the Muslims, and we should not bring up this subject. While this subject is very important, if we are not brave enough to discuss the history of our faith, the history of our Islam, and what happened after the Prophet, then we are hiding something important. So we have to discuss this area, and we have to discuss what happened, but with respect. First of all, with sense of objectivity, and also at the same time we respect others. We don't want to hurt people's feelings. We want the truth to prevail. We want people to know exactly what happened. What happened after the life of the Prophet? Why 50 years after the death of the Prophet, his grandson, who was his favorite son, and on numerous occasions the Prophet ﷺ refers about Hussein as, he's of me, Husaynun minni wa ana min Husayn. Ahabba Allah man ahabba Husaynan. He's of me and I am of him. He continues my path. May God love and adore the one who loves Hussein. There is something important there. It's not about merely biological relationship. The Prophet had other children, other grandchildren. But why? Why all this emphasis on Hussein? And why this Hussein, who is so dear to his grandfather, has to be murdered half a century after the death of his grandfather, the Prophet ﷺ? What happened? This is why we discuss Ashura. Number 1, Ashura is the main source of inspiration and stimulation for Muslims and non-Muslims. Ashura, it's not about a person. It's not neither about a family. It's neither about a piece of land. Ashura, it's a universal concept, universal ideal. Ashura, it's about the humanity. It's about the dignity of the humanity. Therefore, it is a source of inspiration, a source of revival for Muslims and non-Muslims. If you don't know Imam Hussein, then you don't know Islam. Imam Hussein is the pathfinder to this religion. And people who don't know Imam Hussein, they know nothing about the ideals of Islam. Maybe they know the physical Islam. the physical aspect of Islam, which is 5 daily prayers, fasting in Ramadan, and so on and so forth. But the real message of Islam, which is based on equality, based on peace, based on justice, based on the universality of the humankind, the human being, based on piety, it's going to go missing if we don't know Imam Hussein, if we don't know Ahlul Bayt. Ahlul Bayt, they represent not the corrupt version of Islam, but the true version, the genuine version of Islam. Islam is not just building mosques and praying 5 times a day and raising the adhan Allahu Akbar. Islam is more than that. Islam is to put Allahu Akbar into practice. Because Bani Umayyah, they did raise the adhan Allahu Akbar. Bani Umayyah, 30 minutes before attacking Imam Hussein's camp, they performed the Salatul Asr in the land of Karbala. Bani Umayyah, Umar ibn Sa'd, the Umayyah commander, the commander of the Umayyad army, Umar ibn Sa'd, he was Imam al-Jama'ah. He was leading the prayers, and immediately after saying Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, he turned his arrows to the camp of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. So they did pray. But what sort of prayers? Prayers that is spiritless, meaningless. A prayers that takes them, rather than takes them to God, towards God, it took them away from God, because it was only and merely physical exercise. Spiritless prayers. Whereas God says in the Quran, إِنَّ الصَّلَاةَ تَنْهَى عَنِ الْفَحْشَاءِ وَالْمُنْكَرِ. What you learn from prayers is self-control, self-restraint. You have to restrain yourself against bad talks, against bad thoughts, against evil conducts. Imam Hussein brought back dignity and meaning and a spirit to the salat, to the siyam, to the Holy Quran, to the Hajj. Imam Hussein left his Hajj. People are leaving to Mina, leaving Mecca to Mina. Imam Hussein is leaving Mecca to the land of Karbala. What does that mean? It means that this Hajj is meaningless. The Hajj that teaches people to be more dictators and more corrupt and to listen blindly to a dictator, that Hajj is not a Hajj. Don't call it a Hajj.